What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Grow with Breeze. In this video, we're going to be doing a comparison between Wix and Squarespace. I'm going to be going over some key differences between the two website building platforms to help you decide which one is right for you. To get more information about Wix or Squarespace individually, be sure to check out the reviews and tutorials of these sites on the channel. If at any time you decide you're ready to get started with either of them, we have included our affiliate links to the respective sites in the video description, and those are going to take you right to each site where you can see info on the latest pricing, deals, and promotions. With that being said, let's get into it. So a little background on these two site builders. On one hand, Wix is known to be really customizable, giving you the freedom to do pretty much anything you want with the site. Wix has countless different tools and elements you can add to your site, and a system that allows you to move anything around the website that you want, which is really different from grid systems that you can find on a site builder like Squarespace or Weebly. Editing things is pretty straightforward, although not the easiest or most intuitive sometimes. And as far as themes go, there are literally hundreds of them. But the drawback to all this is even though it gives you the freedom to do what you want, it also can be a little bit overwhelming at times, especially for beginners. And there's not really any safety net. So it's pretty easy to make mistakes, even if you are relatively experienced. Squarespace, on the other hand, has a really rigid system designed to make it as easy and intuitive as possible, but at the same time taking away some of that freedom. For example, you can't really just drag and drop something wherever you want on the page. Squarespace does use a grid system, and their themes are really recognizable because they are more meant to be used as they are, as opposed to customizing every little aspect of them. The drawback of this, of course, is taking away a lot of your freedom. But the benefit to it is it makes it super easy to build a website that not only has a really high quality look, but also has a lot of sophisticated features without having to stress over a bunch of different options or a complicated procedure. So while Wix is focused on freedom and customization, Squarespace is more focused on ease of use while retaining the same high quality and sophisticated features you would expect from something that's super advanced. To give you a better idea of what these differences look like, I'm going to show you a few elements in each platform's editor so you can see for yourself what I mean. So this is Wix's editor. At first glance, it does look pretty simple and straightforward, but there is really a lot to it. There are lots of different options for customization and elements you can add to it. And in and of itself, it's really not that complicated, but there are so many different options and so much you have to pay attention to that it can get to be a little much if you're not expecting it. The mechanics are pretty straightforward. These are the elements on the screen. If you want to add something to it, you're going to hit this plus right here. And as you can see here, you're going to have pages upon pages of all kinds of different things to add to your website. And that can be a really good thing, especially if customization is important to you. If you have a specific vision in mind, you can easily bring it to life with all of these different tools and resources that Wix offers. So that is a really good thing about this platform. To look at your pages, you can simply hit the menus and pages button. And backgrounds is right here. You can change a page background really easily. I do like how simple the menu is. Even though there are a ton of different options, the menu makes things look really obvious, so you'll pretty much know what you're supposed to do. Now, when it comes to moving something on the website, it's really easy to do, and it's pretty unique in the sense that you can drag anything anywhere, even if it doesn't make sense there. Now, that is a sort of a drawback, because if you put something somewhere that's just not going to look good, on one hand, you do have the freedom to do whatever, but on the other hand, it's so easy to make a mistake if you're not paying a ton of attention to where you're putting something, and there's a lot of room for error in that regard. In addition to this is what the mobile view looks like. Now, one cool thing about Wix's mobile view that some platforms don't have is the ability to edit the website within the mobile view. Now, this can be really convenient because if you go to check it and make sure everything is all good on the mobile view and you see something that you want to tweak, then you can just do it there. Whereas with Weebly, for example, you can't actually edit the site in the mobile view. you have to basically guess in the desktop view where it's going to be, and that's no good. But the drawback of how Wix has it set up is that a lot of the time the mobile view doesn't look anything like the desktop view, and a lot of changes you make in the desktop view won't really even reflect in the mobile view. So you're basically editing two different websites, which you're going to see in a minute is not the case for Squarespace. All in all, even though there's a little bit of a learning curve and sometimes the different options can be overwhelming, Wix does have a really nice editor for the websites. Now this is Squarespace's editor. It looks sort of similar, but there's a lot that's different about it. For example, there's no dragging and dropping. In order to move, for example, this button from one side of the screen to the other, we're gonna have to add what's called a spacer. So to do that, you hit this plus right here, and this is gonna be the section where you add what's called a content block. And a content block can be anything from the menu. So we're gonna select the spacer, and that's gonna put an item, which is basically just a space, and you're gonna put that right next to the button, and that's gonna move the button over. So you see, it's a little bit trickier to move something around on the screen, but the benefit of this is the website's always gonna be optimized to look as good as it can. So you won't have to worry about putting something a little off to the side where it's out of alignment, and then having it look really bad on mobile view, or having it just look bad in general. Instead, on the grid system, everything's at least gonna be set up in a way where it makes sense, and I really like that about Squarespace. There's not nearly as much freedom or as many different elements you can add. As you can see here, this is a far cry from what we saw with Wix, where there are literally hundreds of different things you can add. But on the bright side, Squarespace has basically everything you need, and there aren't so many different things on the menu that it gets overwhelming. Unlike Wix, when you go to the mobile view, it does actually look pretty similar to how it looks in the desktop view. And to a certain extent, you can edit things in the mobile view as well. It's really just Weebly where you can't, which I think is really weird. But Squarespace, you can edit things just fine. So at the end of the day, as far as editors are concerned, if you want more options, more freedom, and more flexibility, and are okay with having a little bit more difficulty to go along with that, then Wix is probably going to be a better option for you. But if you want your site to be super easy to set up, really straightforward and simple, without a ton of variation or customization, then Squarespace might fit your needs better. So as far as themes go, themes are really important for building a website, especially if you want to save a lot of time. But there might be some of you out there who would rather build something from complete scratch, and that's definitely okay. In that situation, Wix is probably the only website building platform I'm aware of where you can actually build from complete scratch, as in a fully blank page where you can put whatever you want on it and really build it up from there. Wix has literally hundreds of themes, and by 100, I mean at least 500. I think there's actually more than that. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Now, there is a drawback to this. The quality of those themes is not exactly consistent. Some of them look really modern, really nice, really high quality, but others are a little ugly and a little outdated and end up being things that you probably wouldn't want to use. Now, Squarespace, on the other hand, has only 70 themes, which is a really tiny number compared to what Wix has, but those themes are really high quality and they really put effort into every last little detail to make sure the themes look as good as they possibly can. I personally feel like Squarespace's themes are more meant to be used as they are. Of course, customizing the names and that sort of thing is expected, but other than that, they really run perfectly as they are. Whereas with Wix, from what I've seen, you still do have to do a little bit of work to really get them to that presentable level. So again, it goes back to, if you want to customize everything and really make your own thing from the ground up, Wix is going to be a great option. But if you're not too concerned about customization, if you want something that just looks really good and don't really care to make it look a specific, unique way, then Squarespace might be better for you. Now let's talk a little bit about e-commerce, because both sites have some really powerful tools. Now Wix does have a lot of stuff, One thing I really like about them that's different from a lot of the other platforms out there is that they have a drop shipping service that allows you to source products from within Wix's internal services. Now, this is actually a really unique feature. If you want to do drop shipping and sell a lot of things, this might be a good way to go. But then there are other drawbacks. For example, with their automatic sales tax calculator, this is limited at 500 transactions per month. Whereas with Squarespace and Weebly for that matter, neither of them have a limit for their tax calculator. Now there are other things too that both Wix and Squarespace have, like abandoned shopping cart emails, customer accounts, and much more. But I do believe Squarespace's e-commerce platform is a little bit more ironed out and a little bit more sophisticated than Wix's, and it's a lot easier to use as well. Now, one thing that sets Wix apart from others is that Wix actually has an enterprise plan. Now, this is not cheap. This is more for larger businesses with a higher budget, but it's still there nonetheless. What it is basically having professionals help you manage your website. So for that, there are some benefits if you are at that larger scale, but if you're not, if you're really trying to do it yourself and focus on e-commerce, Squarespace is going to have better options. At the end of the day, as far as e-commerce and business functions go, both platforms have really similar features and their advantages and disadvantages are pretty even with each other. So it really depends on what's most important to you. So I do encourage you to take a look at both pricing models yourself and determine which one is going to fit your needs better. Again, to get the latest info on the pricing, deals, and promotions of each platform, we have included those affiliate links in our video description, so you'll be able to check that out really easily. Now, in conclusion, which website building platform is better? Well, I would say it really depends on your needs and what you value the most. Wix is really all about freedom and customization with a ton of different options, over 500 themes and 300 different apps, and who knows how many different elements you can add to your pages, all to allow you to personalize your website as much as you could possibly want. It's the only platform that really lets you build a site from complete scratch, just a blank page, and then you can slap everything you want on there. And the drawback of that, of course, is all these different options can get pretty chaotic and the quality of their themes is a little bit inconsistent. On the other hand, Squarespace is all about ease of use while retaining quality and sophisticated features. Squarespace has a lot of the same features Wix has, but I really do like that you get unlimited storage with a Squarespace plan versus 50 gigabytes, which if you're running a large website with lots of content and lots of other stuff on it, that's probably not going to be enough. Another thing I like about Squarespace is the grid system that really makes things look nice. And their themes are super high quality. So if you're looking for a platform that's going to allow you to build a really nice looking website with some really nice fancy features, as well as being super easy to use, maybe you're a beginner and don't know a whole lot, or maybe you don't feel like taking the time to do a lot of complex activities when building your website yourself, Squarespace is probably going to be your best option. But if you are looking for more freedom and flexibility and want to be able to change everything you can about your website, then Wix is probably going to be better. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next Grow with Breeze video.